Warning! 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 Warning!
All right, everybody, welcome to the live stream that just started this moment, and there are no technical difficulties at all that have happened. So I just wanted to start off the night by giving a warning, because there are a lot of spoilers that have come out online just blatantly. I was spoiled to something. Spoiled to something about Bachelorette. Yesterday, I just opened up my Twitter page and someone was just talking about it. So I wanna put that out right now. The rules are no spoilers, no posting anything like that, no posting spoilers at all in the comment section. But I can't control everyone, so just a warning going into this. Please don't talk about it if you know it. So yeah, and then she's denied it and all that stuff. I think it's still going to be the same thing, but like even as we get into talking about it, it's so easy to infer things. So anyways, welcome to the post-show live chat where we're going to be talking about everything that went down tonight on The Bachelor. The rules, of course, as I mentioned before, please no posting spoilers unless they've been sleuthed out, and that means like anything that you've been able to figure out from previews, from episodes, that kind of sleuthing stuff is totally welcome. Anything posted by an official source like a Twitter page from The Bachelor or Chris Harrison or whatever, totally welcome. Anything else, anything outright, just blatant spoiler that you heard from someone, not welcome. Thank you. I'm going to do my best to answer all questions in the chat. But of course, super chats like Asia's, which I've seen. Thank you. Appreciate it. And I'll get to that in just a second. But those will always get priority. And last but not least, be kind to each other. And so yeah, the first super chat, Asia, producers went too far this season. Yeah, the Heather stuff. There's so much stuff like the, prank date, all the bullying, the like Heather showing up at this point. So I don't know. Like, she has no chance, especially with what's happened already on the show, right? Like, I'm wondering, did she call them like the day before and ask to be on the show, or was this something that they knew about and planned to put in way late in the season when it wasn't going to make any difference? And Base Des, thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. But top 4 picks. Yeah, there are a few new things to talk about when it comes to the top 4. There was a really interesting interview with E.T. that Matt did, where he talked about his relationship with like Rachel in the first person, or in the like the present tense, and then slipped up and switched it. That was an interesting thing. I'm going to point that out in the preview breakdown coming up. So there's a lot of buzz going on around her. And one thing I'll say, another great edit this episode, Bree got a fantastic edit, I think, this episode. We talk a lot about those little check-ins that they do on the show. People who are not really, relevant to the storyline of a particular episode. But if they get a little check-in, it means they're going to be important to the season. They're going to make it far. So Bree, I think, fantastic little edit right there for going far. But, we've also seen in the previews that she gets a fantasy suite date. We've talked about that before. Has to be a fantasy suite date. Right? So, no surprise there. And Allie, thank you so much for the super chat. Do you think Heather will be gone this rose ceremony? Probably. I think Matt's probably not crazy into her, and that mixed with her showing up so late and all the drama that's already happened from new arrivals, I think he won't want to make that mistake again. So it'll probably be easier to just get her out. Get her out. And probably better for her in the long run too, because we've seen the kind of toxic environment that can be created. And another thing I want to point out, a few people were saying, like all these women who are freaking out about new arrivals and getting really upset and all that sort of stuff, totally within the realm of possibility. If you put yourself in their shoes, you're thinking you've been quarantined, you've been thrown into the situation, tossed around by producers. You'd be emotional too if you were in that state. So, a little in defense of some of the crazy, not in defense of like the toxic crap, but some of the people who've just been like really upset and extra upset. They should like crying when new people show up. So, yeah, I think Heather is probably gone right away. At best, like one rose ceremony, but that would be pretty tough to see. So. And Heidi, thank you for the super chat. What did Matt mean about him seeing this process work for Tyler? I'm wondering the exact same thing. So when he met up with Tyler to debrief and, play a little game of pool, there was this little ITM interview, and Matt was saying he's seen the process work for Tyler. I'm guessing he was talking about, he met Hannah, and they kind of had a relationship, I guess, and he went far. But I don't know. It obviously didn't actually work out because he's not, in love and, in a relationship with anyone from the show. He's single. So, kind of a strange comment to make. Unless you're talking about him, it worked out for Tyler because... he has a huge following now, so I guess in that sense, the process worked great for Tyler. So, yeah, a bit confusing for me too. And Gabby O, thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Thank you for supporting the stream and the channel. And John, starting to feel like an It Follows sequel with the spirit of Victoria splitting into all the women. Yeah, thank you for the super chat. She's moving on from one host to the other. From Victoria to MJ, MJ's gone, and now it's Serena. I just hope it ends. I hope it ends there. By the way, speaking of Serena, she's on my chopping block. There are a few women who are on my chopping block for the week. Especially the upcoming rose ceremony that we're about to have. We talked about Heather. Serena is a possibility. I'll be going into more detail and reviewing a lot more of this before the preview breakdown on Wednesday. But we're exhausting a lot of footage at this point. We are exhausting a lot of footage for quite a few women, and there's not much left to go for Serena, as far as I can recall. Chelsea, someone else who I've got my eyes on for going. Last bit of footage was from this section with Heather. So. And I am not Nicole. Thank you so much for supporting the stream and for the super chat, because I know you would never send our girl Katie home. Thank you for that. Yeah, you can't. I mean, You might be surprised that it happened so suddenly, but I don't think you can be surprised that at the end of the day, Katie goes home here. A lot of friendship energy going on with the edit here, and you know, not they cut a ton of romantic footage. I can say that for sure. With Katie, there was a few shots in the previews. There was definitely one shot in the preview of like Katie and Matt hanging out, and she was on like a skateboard or something, and they never showed that. So the edit that we got from Katie was anti-bullying, but no romance with Matt. So you can't be too shocked when she gets sent home here. And especially as the date kind of went on, you sort of saw the writing on the wall. And if it wasn't now, it was going to be in a week or two. Like, there was just no way she was getting a spot over a bunch of the other women in the top 4. So, but she served her purpose. She valiantly eliminated Victoria, Anna, and MJ. So, respect. And Gabby, hi. Do you think Victoria / Anna / MJ will be on Paradise for drama, or do you think production will take the bullying feedback seriously and just not? So first of all, thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate it. I think just about anything's possible. When you have a season with a guy like Chad from JoJo season, and this was a few years ago, so there's a difference, but when you have a season with a guy like Chad and he shows up in Paradise, anything is possible. That being said, I could 100% without blinking an eye see the producers putting Anna or MJ in Paradise. The question mark is, do they feel they can get what they want and not get any pushback from a Victoria Paradise appearance? I could see them doing it. Could definitely see them doing it. You know, it's one of those things where there's going to be enough distance from now and Paradise that the feeling will be different. Like, you know, to compare this to another person who was, you know, reviled by the fan base, by a lot of the fan base at least, like Luke P from Hannah Brown's season, that was something they weren't going to touch. And he went very far. So maybe the difference is Victoria didn't go far enough. We'll see. I can't speak to the producers, but I wouldn't put it past them. So, and they have been talking about there being a large cast in Paradise. So I know there are a lot of people to choose from to be on the show, but from the few bits of rumors I've been hearing about and interviews from people like Chris Harrison, it seems like they're going to have more than usual. So there is room for extra people who might not have shown up. So we'll see. But yeah. So tonight we saw the demise of MJ, who has, you know, only preached harmony and peace this whole time, 100% on the 2-on-1. Thankfully, Matt saw through that and sent her home. And The plastics are nearly gone. Whew. We've made it. And also, a big part of the previews, Heather returning, showing up in her minivan, shocking Chris Harrison, who had no idea that she was quarantining and in a hotel room, ready to show up on the show, completely shocked. Just kidding. Of course they knew. Of course she was invited. Do you see that graphic that they put up with the security cam that some intern made? The security cam footage. Of course they knew. Yeah, Serena C is the last of the plastics. But I think she's also on the chopping block. And Amy, thank you so much for the super chat. Do you think production reached out to Heather, or do you think she reached out to the show? I feel like she is going to get torn apart next episode. That is a great question. You know, I think it's a, what came first, the chicken or the egg kind of thing. It's impossible to know unless someone comes out. I do believe that what Heather says is true. That she I don't know, felt like she wanted to come on the show because of her conversation with Hannah Brown and all that. I do believe she had a desire to be there. She wasn't just like pulled from her life by production, but it very easily could have been something that production heard about and called her to join. Either way, I think the timing is suspicious. And by that I mean when they decided to put her on the show. Because my guess is that she didn't just, out of the blue one day decide in the middle of, I don't know, when were they filming at this point? Like October or something? Like, we knew Matt was going to be the Bachelor in July. It was announced in July that Matt was going to be the Bachelor. She didn't sit there and go, a couple months maybe I'll see if I can come on the show. No. She probably talked to production way earlier, and they placed her where they wanted her, which was later in the season to cause drama. So, that, I don't know. I could buy if he was announced in July and it took her like a month, and she showed up, with the first batch of new women. If she showed up with the first batch of new women, I could maybe buy that. There's reasonable doubt. But this late, waiting that long to show up, come on. Come on. So, and I think she's got a storm coming. I think it's going to be rough, especially with all the stuff that Dylan was talking about. Dylan from the Hannah G. Dylan duo. He said he got really upset because he said she got screwed over this season. And speaking of, he also was talking about this guy right here, Better Bull Jed himself, saying that Jed was manipulated. And that's a whole other thing. Now this story is, I guess, sort of still developing. Dylan saying that Jed was manipulated and he never actually cheated on Hannah Brown or anything like that. Jed was saying he was going to talk about all this. He was going to reveal the deets. But he's now said something like he's going to do it on Tuesday because he's got a podcast or something. So still developing. And one thing I'll say about this, my early comment before even Jed speaks, is everyone on this show, to some degree and to some extent, is manipulated in some way. You know, it's reality TV, and the reality of that is it happens on every show. Some shows more than other, but I don't quite buy that Jed's completely guiltless in this whole thing. You know, and it's so easy to say, like, define cheating, but I guess we'll find out. He'll be apparently talking about that on Tuesday. So, there you go. And Shelby, thank you for the super chat. The women tell-all will determine if the plastics are invited to paradise. Maybe. There are sometimes some surprise, like, you can do nothing and show up in paradise. Even on a year where things are going to be a little jam-packed. I could definitely see the lesser plastics, I guess, showing up. Anna, MJ, Serena, see. If Victoria shows up and is present at the Women Tell All, her edit could determine whether or not she's there in paradise. Absolutely. If they let her off easy. So, if they let her off easy, like, there was a lot of controversy surrounding Victoria F on Peter's season that they never addressed. And I guarantee you they were setting her up for paradise. They let her off easy. They just kind of, like, glossed over any of the outside of the franchise, controversy that was happening. So if she gets the kind of edit like Victoria F got, it's certainly possible. So, yeah, and I'm not catching it. I'm hoping any mods or whatever or other people are reporting any spoilers, but please, again, I'm going to reiterate in case new people have arrived, no posting spoilers, no posting any of the stuff that came out in the last couple of days, which I was spoiled to just being on Twitter. Please no posting any of it. We're going to keep it spoiler free. We're going to talk about it when and if that's announced. We're going to be talking all about it, including why this person and all the domino effect of implications that follow. We're going to be talking about it. So we're going to get there. Don't worry. And I have so many thoughts on it. I promise. Including that, I think, even though people have been saying it's, in doubt, I don't think it is. But we're going to move on. Kayla, thank you so much for the super chat. Thoughts about how many women are left with hometowns just around the corner? Maybe more hometowns since there was a bigger cast? Yeah, so they talked about hometowns being in 2 weeks. We've got what that means, 2 more rose ceremonies. Let's go through some of the cast options here, because we've got Abigail and Bree. We've got Chelsea. We've got Jasenia. We've got Kit. We've got Michelle. We've got Piper. We've got Rachel. We've got Serena C. We've got Serena P. And that's it. That's all who's left. So yeah, we'll go in reverse order here, talking about these women. And so we've got Serena P. Absolutely can make hometowns. Serena C. Not much footage left. She's gone. She's not making hometowns. Rachel making hometowns, definitely possible, probably possible. Piper, she's a strong date. She could do it. Michelle, absolutely 100% lock for hometowns. She's got like more one-on-one date footage coming. She's just, in it. Jasenia, she's got a one-on-one coming up, but not seeing it. There's just been no romantic connection or footage shown between Matt and Jasenia up until, this footage coming up of her on a one-on-one, but that just means she's going to get nixed. Chelsea as well. No romantic footage apart from her on a group date when she got the group date rose. Bree, we have a fantasy suite bit of footage, and Abigail again. I just she's been getting some nice editing footage lately, but not a lot of romance to go off of, so she just is not going to make the cut. So that leaves, who did I say for possible hometown scenarios? Bree, yep. Bree, Michelle, Piper, Rachel, Serena P. That's it. Which leaves one, Serena C. I'm just on the website. Cast list website. Serena C. Abigail and Jasenia and Chelsea as eliminations, and Heather. So Abigail, Bree, Jasenia, Chelsea, Heather, and one more woman. So 3 eliminations, 2 episodes. Totally, it's we're right on track. Oh, Kit. I haven't mentioned Kit. Yeah, well, Kit. Yeah, Kit's gone too. Just the only romantic footage we've got is from their one-on-one. And I know some people are going to say, well, what about the footage of Kit in the hot tub with Matt? We haven't seen that. That could have been from their one-on-one, and they just cut it from the episode. So 7 women going in 2 episodes? Or 2 rose ceremonies? Absolutely possible. And I mean, you just take those group of that group of ladies, and you just think about the season that we've had so far, and who's had romantic footage with Matt, multiple times, and you get those 5, I think, pretty strongly, right? You just compare them 1-to-1 with the kind of preview footage and editing that's been going on. Because you're not telling me Kit is getting a spot over Michelle, or, Serena C is getting a spot over Bree, And unfortunately, as much of an Abigail stan as I am, it's, she's just not getting the romantic edit that I thought she would. So that's how I see it going. And someone said, I just don't think Matt is decisive enough to be Bachelor. What I think is he doesn't know the deal. He's heard about the deal. He's obviously heard about the deal from Hannah Brown and Tyler, but he hasn't experienced it before. So I think he's a little bit apprehensive, and they've just kind of pushed the narrative of the cast more over his narrative. So he's kind of seemed like a little bit in the background this season. Yeah, I mean, he's made better decisions in the last couple of weeks than early on. But I think he's just playing a little bit of catch up with how the process works, because he doesn't know. He was supposed to be on Claire/Tasha's season, but he wasn't, and he's not aware of how things can look from the other end sometimes. So who was eliminated, by the way? Yes, so we had MJ eliminated on the 2-on-1, and then we had Maggie, Brittany, and Ryan eliminated. So a little bit of discarding Brittany and Ryan there after their bullying storyline. And Allie, thank you so much for the super chat. Do you think the producers will not choose someone who was previously in the franchise because of Matt? I think there are too many. I think it would be a mistake for them to choose someone not from the season for Bachelorette, I'm guessing you're saying. And I think it would be a mistake to choose someone from outside of the franchise or from a different season. I guess they can choose like a lead completely irrelevant from the season, but Matt was chosen because of his connection to Tyler Cameron and because he was going to be on The Bachelor, and they were receiving pressure to have, a person of color as the lead. Like, that's the only reason why they would announce it in July before the season of The Bachelorette had even aired. So it's possible they could do that now, but I don't think it's a precedent for the future. They're going to be going back to the formula of, picking someone from the previous season or from the franchise, because it just feeds so well into each season. It's like a cycle. So I don't think this is going to be something that they do in the future unless they get a real like catch, like a big celebrity or something like that is going to skyrocket ratings or whatever. Otherwise, they'll be keeping it in the family. Keeping it in the family. So there are we harp on the season for it being a pretty rough cast, but there are a number of women this season who are excellent candidates for Bachelorette. Number of women, whether they win or get eliminated, get their heart broken. So I think it would be I think they would be wise to choose from the season, even though we've had a rough first part of the season. We still have a lot to see from so many women. So, who would you want to see as Bachelorette? I posted on Twitter my 3 picks for if they don't win, who I would like to see as Bachelorette. And those 3 were Abigail, Michelle, and Katie. So those are my 3 picks, and maybe Bree, depending on how things go. But she really she got a great edit this episode, but she kind of Bree sort of faded a little bit into the background for a while there, and she was getting those check-ins and stuff too, but she wasn't getting a lot of attention. So, I could add Bree to that list as well if we're gonna see more of her. We're gonna get more footage of Bree. And that could easily get her name thrown into that ring. So But those were as of last week my picks for if they don't win. That's who I like to see. So yeah, I love Abigail, but she might be too sweet. This show is tough on leads. Yeah, and you gotta look at it also from production standpoint. They want someone as well who is going to play ball. And I mean I don't know Abigail, but their perspective of her might be that she won't play ball, or play ball to the extent that they want her to. Could I not see Serena P as Bachelorette? I could absolutely see that too. I could absolutely see Serena P as Bachelorette, but if I'm going to say as of now, she would fall to number 5 on that list. But again, like I said with Brie, we have a lot more footage to come. So maybe there's a huge Serena P I don't know, storyline coming up, but I think with the way things are going, the 3 or 4 mentioned earlier would be selections I would like to see, or I would be happy seeing, for different reasons. So, but we'll find that out soon enough. And again, be careful. There are spoilers out there. If that's something that you're not interested in,
Warning! 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 Warning!
those spoilers are out there. I have found that Twitter has been a safe place, or I don't know, maybe I've set it up, but yesterday it was not for me. And Bachelorette spoilers are out there. I've never been spoiled on Twitter about like anything until yesterday. So watch out if that's something you're not interested in. So did y'all notice when Piper said she's falling for Matt, he didn't say it back, or they just didn't show it? Yeah, and one thing I will say is, I mean, I don't remember that, but whether he did or not, particularly, but if it didn't happen, it doesn't mean it didn't happen, you know? They can cut a lot of stuff to tell a narrative. So They have cut a ton of footage. You don't know, like, you go through this season and you're going to talk about someone like Serena C or Chelsea, for example. Let's talk about Chelsea. We've seen a bit of Chelsea and Matt kissing one time on a group date. We don't know if they've had a huge romantic connection, but he decides it's just not quite enough, and there's a heartbreak exit next episode or 2 episodes or whatever. But for all we know, that never happened because they just, the editors control the narrative. They control that stuff. And Lala, thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Is it just me, or does the lighting crew need to make the night scenes brighter on the Bachelor/Bachelorette? I always have to adjust the screen lighting when I watch the show. It used to be, maybe I haven't noticed this in a while, but it used to be they had so many candles. Like every single one-on-one date would have like 1,000 candles in the background. Whatever happened to that? They cut down their budget on candles. So, Yeah, and I mean, I noticed some of it too. I sometimes pulling footage, I do have to brighten it a bit. I don't know if it's just the way it ends up in the editing program or whatever. Oh man, they had to fire the candle guy. Hard times. Hard times right now. So, but thank you for that super chat. Someone is get in contact with the lighting crew. Let's make some changes. But we'll talk again about we've talked about those final four. Maybe there's room for Piper in there. If Piper were to get a hometown spot, I would probably say she gets it over Serena P. Michelle, Bree, Lox, Rachel. There's so much going on about Rachel, and she's been getting great edits too. Is like, with all the stuff about her insensitive posting and racist allegations and all this stuff that hasn't been addressed, which still waiting for that to be addressed. With all this stuff that's going on, she's still getting screen time, which tells me she has to, right? It's like you if it was like an easy, think about the easy stuff that happened on The Bachelorette. These allegations came out about Easy, and all of a sudden he was just cut from the show. But that changed when he got his one-on-one with Tayshia, where he was eliminated on the one-on-one. And the reason why he suddenly was getting footage was because he had to. He had to get footage. He was on the one-on-one. It was a part of the season. They addressed it. Same way if you think about like RuPaul's Drag Race with Sherry Pie. All this stuff came out. And they decided to cut Sherry Pie from the show. Except for the parts where it was important to the episode. Like she won the challenge or whatever. Or important to another queen. So if there is all this, kind of controversy going on with Rachel that hasn't been addressed yet, and she like gets eliminated next episode, they wouldn't be showcasing her. Not the not the ABC I know. So yeah, Matt addressed them, but in passing, yeah, that was like a really small thing, and of course also ABC needs to address it too, or if ABC's contractually holding them back, that needs to be. And didn't Garrett? Remember there was the stuff from Becca's season where Garrett, who was the eventual winner, by the way, of that season, didn't he have he had stuff that was like inappropriate likes and controversial crap going on, and he got to address it? Didn't he get to make a statement or something, or am I misremembering that? So what's the difference? Anyways, I want to hear from Rachel, but yeah, no, it with all that going on, she's still getting tiny check-ins, airtime. So she's got to make it. She's got to make it far. At the minimum, they have to include her because it would seem weird if they didn't to the storyline of the season. So, oh, Garrett had to wait? Okay. I thought there was like a small statement he was allowed to like a publication or something, but maybe I'm misremembering. So, he did on the finale / the AF after the final rose. Yeah. Well, it's still a bad luck if you have to wait till the after the final rose, I think. I think that's a mistake. If they're being contractually held back till the women tell all or the AFR, whatever she's going to show up on, I think it's a mistake. So, get it out now. Whatever is going on, it has to be addressed. It just has to be. So we'll see. And another interesting thing to note, something we talked about in one of the very early preview breakdowns, one of the first ones that came out, maybe second one, does Matt even get engaged? If you go back to that, one of the first like preseason but like extended season previews where they showcase the final rose ceremony, and there's no like Neil Lane logo on the case. I have sneaking suspicion. So, sneaking suspicion. Maybe Matt doesn't even get engaged. So we're going to see. And we are going to come now to the last few minutes of the stream. Coming to the end of the hour almost. Then it's time to get into recapping this last episode with new arrival Heather. So we're going to get in our last questions here to chat about the show. So at Bachelor Fan, do you think Katie will be the next Bachelorette? Do you want her to be? One thing I will say, because some of that stuff has been spoiled to me about who might be the next Bachelorette. It was just all over Twitter yesterday. And just blatantly people were talking about it. I'll say, do I want her to be? Yeah, she's one of the women who I've said I wanted to be Bachelorette. Absolutely. It's always an interesting thing at this point to talk about because, like, if you look back at pretty much any season, fan favorites who go home at this point typically are talked about, next Bachelor, next Bachelorette, and then it fades until you get to hometowns. And then another favorite gets eliminated, and all of a sudden that person is the new talk as the lead, and you forget about the person you were talking about before. Just look at the cycle of what happened with Tayshia's season. There was Joe for Bachelor, and then people were going, oh man, like Ivan for Bachelor or Riley for Bachelor, and the cycle just continued with as fan favorites got eliminated later on in the thing. So it's an interesting point to think about. But she was one of the women who I posted last week. One of the 3 women, and we could add Brie maybe to that list potentially. So, who do I think goes home next week? At the next rose ceremony, I've got my eye on Serena C. I've got my eye on Chelsea, for sure. Chelsea seems like a pretty strong lock, I'd say, for going home. At the next rose ceremony. Maybe no, Jasenia's got the one-on-one. Those 2 are who I'm looking at strongly. And then the pre hometowns, Abigail. We'll see Jasenia, Kit. But Kit maybe, like, some of them could go home next rose ceremony too. Why Chelsea? Just no screen time. No screen time, no preview footage. The last bit of preview footage that we've seen of Chelsea was from when Heather shows up. Other than that, I haven't seen anything. And then you also just compare one person to another. Like, compare Chelsea to Brie. Brie is staying. Brie has more footage. So there's only there are only so many slots for hometowns unless they make an exception and add more people. So, what about Heather? Oh yeah, Heather. Heather's gone. Heather's gone for sure. I would say Heather doesn't even make it through the rose ceremony. I think it would be pretty crazy for her to. For her to make it past it. I think it would be a mistake for Matt to do that. Unless he was like really, really into her. If he had feelings about her before the show and thought she might, be someone he wanted to end up with, okay. But other than that, it's probably for the best. So, I want to see Abigail and Brendan in paradise. Oh, the shipping has begun. The shipping has begun. And we're going to get a paradise. There's no way we're not getting a paradise. So, Ivan, Joe, Riley, or Brendan for Bachelor? Kit and Bennett. Yeah, Kit and Bennett ship. That's a good one. Ivan, Joe, Riley, or Brendan for Bachelor, the only way that happens is if they're on Paradise. Because we've got a whole other cast for next season of The Bachelorette. And we say that now. We say Ivan, Joe, Riley, Brendan for Bachelor. But you don't know who's going to be showing up in the next season. There could be an even greater guy or... But those 4 guys, I could totally see in Paradise. So, Victoria and Yosef, no, no, don't manifest that into the universe. Don't do that. But all right, we are going to be coming now to the end of the stream. Thank you all so much for joining. We're going to end off with a little send-off. Something we did last week, but I just want you to take a moment, all right?
Marilyn, she's psychologically disturbed, literally. Like, I literally am a queen. I'm just straight up unhappy. Oh, there you go.
Well, that's a bit dramatic.
We're like oil and vinegar. Go home, go home, go home, go home. But you need his attention and he can't talk to other girls or you're gonna go home. I wanna see